again, probably extremely unnecessary. Dear, now these things, ooh, lovely. So it is Thursday, the 9th of February, just about 20 to 9 in the evening. And for this week, I've kind of set myself the challenge of setting up training for the next 8 weeks. Because in 8 weeks' time, I will have my first of a new kind of sporting event, something I haven't done before. I've kind of alluded to it on Instagram and things like that. I haven't really I've told a couple of people what it is, and I've forgotten who I've told. So I was coming up to people talking about it, and they hadn't a clue what I was talking about, or I was being secretive for some reason to some people, and they're like, I fucking know what you're doing. You told me this. I haven't been calling it a triathlon. I've actually been calling it a triathlon for pussies, because in my mind, even though a triathlon just means 3 sporting events, in my mind, the thing that separates out a triathlon and makes it what it is and makes it difficult is the swim, because swimming, especially in open water, is scary and something that not many people do. And the race that I'm doing is called an adventure race, so it will be some component of a run, a cycle, and a kayak. This will be in Glendalough. It's like a quest adventure series, that's what it's branded as. So that is in 8 weeks' time. And kind of a funny story about this and how it came about was I've always kind of looked at these races and looked at these kind of hybrid athletes that would do these kind of events while also doing a lot of resistance training or being big in the gym. And what's often kind of touted in resistance training with personal trainers or with coaching people is finding your why, which is a lot more difficult than people kind of give credit to. You know, it's quite difficult to distill what you actually want out of something. Like, people might come up to you and say, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to look good. And you would kind of go, why and why and why, and you get deeper to the actual why. And I found that maybe over the years, my why is to be capable. And that's great, but it's very vague. Like, what does that mean, to be capable? And in my book, it means to have sufficiently well developed fitness characteristics, multiple different fitness characteristics, and ideally maintain preparedness of them to some degree all of the time. So you might be forgiven for thinking that this is going to be very difficult, which it probably will be. But I've one very good advantage, is that I'm incredibly undertrained from a cardiovascular point of view, and from a skill point of view as well, for cycling, running and kayaking. So any small training intervention that I make, any kind of minimally invasive training intervention, would be incredibly effective for improving my capacity, because it's so low to begin with, you know. And I'm just coming off the back of a powerlifting competition. I just finished the February Open there this last weekend. Didn't go great, kind of alluded to that in the last video. But because I have that done, I can now kind of take a little bit of the foot off the gas, and it's 8 weeks, it's fairly close, that I can steer into this style of training a little bit more. But the challenge will be to maintain some sort of preparedness for powerlifting, for resistance training, whatever I want to do, while also improving my cardiovascular fitness, improving my skill at cycling and running and kayaking, if I can ever find a place that's open at this time of year to do kayaking. To balance these things is quite difficult, you know, and ideally I will not just maintain my performance with powerlifting and with resistance training and building muscle. I'd like to progress in the next 8 weeks if possible. But again, a short time frame, competing interests, probably a drop in the body weight, that's going to be quite a difficult thing to do. However, this kind of change in my training style is coinciding with some concerns that I've had over the last couple of months. So my performance since my last competition, roughly 6 months ago, hasn't been great. Training has been okay, because I've actually been training and I've been enjoying training, which is not something that has ever been guaranteed. But in terms of actually getting better, in terms of actually improving, I think I've left a lot to be desired, you know. And I know my coach and all will have disagreements about that. But one thing that I'm looking to do is to increase my work capacity, which is my ability to do more work over time. And how we look at things in terms of improving your work capacity is that as you train, your work capacity will improve. You don't need to do any dedicated work capacity training and whatever you think that will look like. And that's fair enough. I agree with that still. However, my training in the past couple of years even has looked very specific. So quite low volume, quite a low number of working sets per week, and quite heavy. And what I feel like this has done, it has made it so that my preparedness, my day-to-day expression of strength in the squat, bench and deadlift is very, very good. I can rep very high to my 1 rep max, and I can hit that on nearly every given day, more or less. However, where I think I have lacked in the past is throwing in more and more training volume, maybe hitting lower loads and kind of building that base. I don't like to use that analogy, but kind of building that base where I can develop maybe more general physical preparedness. I don't know exactly where I'm going with this, but I think in my mind, these two aspects, the low, slow cardiovascular work and my general physical preparedness in terms of resistance training, what I'll do in the gym, I feel like these are coming together at a very good time. So this might work out great, and it might not work out at all, but it's 8 weeks, it's a bit of fun. If it goes terribly, that's still learning, you know? So I don't know what it's going to look like yet. I'm thinking 3 days in the gym, 3 days cardio. We need to see what will actually work for me, you know? If this doesn't work, if I don't get stronger, I was going to say in the next 8 weeks, I probably won't get any bigger because that's a very slow process and that's a very short time frame. If it doesn't work, and I probably won't even be able to tell that within the next 8 weeks, at least it will be healthy and fun.